And now on to sugars.
But first, that isn't the top you were wearing just a clip ago. I mean,
It's got lens on it, and that's not the top you're wearing. It's
I was wearing a different Doctor Who top.
It was
I
a
don't know where I
different
got
one.
this jacket from.
I don't know where you got the jacket
The
from.
lion's gone.
The lion's gone. We've got
had
tea,
angina up there, and there's nothing up
trapeze,
there.
or the circus. But this, I like the circus.
This is all drawn differently as well.
Well, that was that side, and
I don't know what was
I
that
don't know what
side.
that side.
It's kind of like we got bored of filming and went for McDonald's.
It's just like that. It's just like that. But yes, now on to sugars. So you've got to know a bit about sugars. You've got to know 3 names. You've got to know monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. But Wayne,
Yes, Triv.
what's a saccharide?
Well, it's a fancy way at A-level biology of saying sugar, and it's just to scare you, really. Monosaccharide means 1, disaccharide means 2, and polysaccharide means lots of. So I'm going to draw a monosaccharide.
Yep, and this is one you encountered before. Now, you did one sugar at GCSE when you did respiration, and it was glucose. You've got to know the formula of that, and that's C6H12O6. And now you've got to know what it looks like as well. That's what we're drawing on now. You've got to know a bit about 2 other monosaccharides, and these are galactose and fructose. And these are just isomers of glucose, but they're, because of stuff in different positions, like this is flipped on both sides for galactose, forms different hydrogen bonds and then different later sugar.
Yes, and that's monosaccharide. That's a big mouthful there, Triv. Well done. And that's monosaccharides. You also need to know where you get these monosaccharides from, all 3 of the ones Triv mentioned.
You do. Glucose and fructose are found in fruit, natural sugars.
And you should know that glucose happens in respiration, or is used in respiration.
It is.
You need to know that. What about galactose, Triv?
I think it's something to do with milk.
It is, yes. We'll go on to it in a minute, the disaccharide lactose.
Yeah, it's probably something you might have
And that's
heard of.
that's in milk, that's what's broken down to get you galactose.
How do you get disaccharides, Wayne?
Well, Triv, you've got to bond these monosaccharides together. There's something called a condensation reaction, something very special happens.
Ah. So if we have another glucose next to this one,
I'm not going to draw everything again. I'm just gonna...
you just draw a general shape of them when you're talking about it, just this hexagon. And then they bond together, and Wayne called it a condensation reaction. Now the thing about condensation on windows is when water forms, and that's a good way to remember how this way works.
So, because the glucoses are the same, you take an OH and an H off,
From each side.
which is actually a H2O.
It is, and that's why it's called condensation. And then these two, which bonds, they both bond to the oxygen.
So if I rub this out and form the full thing after the water's been given off, it will look
Yeah.
like this, with just an O left in the middle.
And that's that, and then now it's a disaccharide. Which one is it, Wayne?
This one is called maltose, and there's, again, 3 disaccharides you have to know,
There
and
is.
you have to know where we get
How they're formed, yeah, from what? From monosaccharide. So another one we have is lactose, mentioned it before.
That's galactose and glucose.
Yep, and we got one last one which is sucrose.
Sucrose, yeah, sucrose, which is glucose and fructose.
It is. And they're formed in a very similar way, but with different structures.
Yeah. How do you get rid of that? Because we mentioned galactose is from lactose in milk and then broken down. How would you do that, Triv?
Well, Wayne, it's called hydrolysis, and it's sort of the reverse. What happens is there's a water just sort of jamming about,
Yep.
and it's put in, and it breaks the bond, and then what happens before happens, and yeah, H2O goes in, and then that
Forms
happens.
it back to that.
That's that.
So, we've done monosaccharides, we've done
Done
disaccharides.
disaccharides. Now onto polysaccharides.
Let's do it.
Let's crack on. So, polysaccharides.
Yeah. Well, what's that, Triv?
Well, Wayne, we mentioned monosaccharides being 1 sugar, and disaccharides being 2. Poly's loads.
Yes.
Huge.
And they're indeed very huge. They're at 500 to 2,000, in fact, so quite a lot. It's
They're
not
quite
just
a lot.
3 or 4, it's a lot.
But why would you need that many, Wayne?
Well, if you think about it in your body, you've got sugars, these glucose and stuff, which you use as energy.
Yeah, the ones.
But you don't, when you want to do a race, you don't wait, eat lots of vegetables, then run. You already have it in your
Yeah,
body.
you store it. So, how do you store it?
Well, that's what this polysaccharide business is all about. It's
It is.
storing energy for future use.
Yeah. So, what needs energy?
Well, we do.
We do.
When we do all sorts of things. When you walk, you require energy. When you run, you require a bit more, but you still need energy.
Yeah, and every cell in your body undergoes respiration and
That needs energy. So where do we get energy from? Where do we get these polysaccharides from?
Well, we get it from foods.
Yeah, so our diet, we have plants.
We do have plants. If you're not a vegetarian, you also have sausages. Or animals.
We'll call them animals instead
Yeah.
of sausages, but
Because there might be different types of sausages.
or bacon.
Oh, yeah.
So
So plants, they have a polysaccharide as well.
they in fact have two.
They do it a bit greedy. First one is starch,
Blue.
very exciting. And there's cellulose, which you need to know less about, but you need to know that it is a polysaccharide.
Yep, we'll go on to that last, and we'll just briefly mention
We
it.
will. And in animals and sausages, you have something called glycogen.
Glycogen.
Now, as that one hints, it's a chain of glucose, but they all are.
Yes. So in fact, we'll go on to it in a minute. This actually looks a lot like starch, but starch has more words. So let's go through
It
that
does.
one first, I think.
All right, let's do
We'll
that.
do it in green.
Okay.
Do you want me to write it up or you?
Oh, yeah, I'll write it up. Yeah.
Right. So starch is made up of it's a mixture of two molecules, and both of these molecules are in fact polysaccharides made from glucose.
Yeah.
So what Trev's writing here is a mylose, and on the other side we've got something called a mylopectin. Both of these are polysaccharides, and they are a mixture to make up a big polysaccharide of starch.
They are. But they're a bit different. And polysaccharides are when lots of things are bonded, but how are things bonded? Well, I mentioned before we had disaccharides when we put two monosaccharides together through a condensation reaction. But you have to know a bit more about that.
Yes. So I've drawn up two glucose here, because this would be made up of glucose, this would be made up of glucose, making this made up entirely of glucose.
Yeah.
So we have to number them. Up here is in fact an oxygen, and that doesn't bond.
That doesn't bond because it's only got two to bond with, and it already has. So we start here, and we go around anti-clockwise, numbering from 1 to 6.
Because this is up here.
Up here is a 6, yeah.
And that'll be the same.
And we know how it bonded if it was, say, two glucose molecules making maltose. It would bond there. So that's a 1, that's a 4. So what does that mean, Wayne?
Well, we call this a 1,4
Glycosidic link. And that's an important word that you need to know. Makes sense because it's about sugars, glucose, glycosidic. Link together. There you go.
That makes a straight chain, this will, because that
Yeah.
will then go again and again and
It
again.
should keep on happening for ages, in theory. And that's what mylose looks like.
So we've got a mylopectin on the other side if Triv wants to draw up some stuff.
Alright, that's a bit more exciting.
it is.
I'm going to do this one in blue.
Okay, I like blue.
I like blue as well. So it has like that one before.
Yeah, much like this one. We'll have two glucose and it will have this 1,4 glycosidic link, just like before. So that gives it a straight chain, just like a mylose. So then how's it any different, Triv?
Well, Wayne, it's branched. And that means it has another bit that comes off somewhere else.
In fact, on number 6, this bit coming up here, and it has a 1,6 glycosidic link, which means the 1 of one of them will bond to the 6 of another one, which means it will come off here, and then you'll have a straight chain and one coming off here.
And that'll keep going. But why is that useful, Wayne, the branching?
Well, it makes it, in theory, a better storage molecule, because it's got all of this coming off. It can then do more twizzly stuff and
Yeah.
intertwine,
And
and it can be
spiral.
more rapidly hydrolyzed.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want to be able to get all the glucose out really quickly, so when you're running, you get a steady flow of energy.
Yes, because you don't want to stand still and wait about 10 minutes for every bit to break off,
That'd take a long
then
time.
run.
Because you can't really warn your body you're about to run.
Yeah. So you want it to be readily there,
You do.
and that's what
And
it's
that's what
using.
that's for.
So that and that makes up starch.
They do. And it's a mixture of both those two. And now on to glycogen.
Glycogen, in fact, looks exactly like the resulting starch, except it doesn't have a mylose and a mylopectin. It's just it.
Yeah, it's a thing, branched and branched again.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
And that's what glycogen is, and we get that from animals instead of plants.
Yeah, so again, like a mylopectin, it has 1,4 and 1,6.
So
glycosidic links.
if you are a vegetarian, you won't be getting this glycogen. You'll have to get it from other things,
You will.
like bacteria and fungi. You could get it from.
You could.
You could have
Mushrooms.
supplements and all of this kind of thing.
And all that jazz, but that's not too important to polysaccharides. I think that pretty much sums them up.
Yes, we'll just mention cellulose.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need to
Talk about
draw it
cellulose.
or anything.
No, you need to know that it is a polysaccharide.
But this one's just a straight chain.
It's not branched, this one.
And
It's usually
you look at the structure in topic 4. You don't need to know that yet.
No.
But you also need to know it does come from plants.
And that's it.
That's it. Let's go on to lipids.
Let's do it.
Feeling a bit fat.
So am I.
Lipids.
So Wayne, what are they?
Well, much like the carbohydrates we've just discussed, they're energy storing molecules.
You need those.
In fact, these lipids can store up to twice as much energy as the carbohydrates we just discussed.
Wow, that's pretty swish.
Yes, and you might be familiar from GCSE with the term carbohydrate loading. What's that?
Yeah, I am. It's something athletes do before a race. They load a load of carbohydrates, loads of energy, so they can do something. Like Usain Bolt eats loads of cornflakes, then he breaks a world record.
Product placement. So, Triv, there's a question I'm pondering now that you've said all of this.
Yeah.
Lipids supply twice as much energy as carbohydrates.
Mhm.
So surely we could just lipid load and we've had much more of this energy than if we did it with carbohydrates, surely.
Well, that's a problem this way.
Ah.
If you just eat loads and loads of burgers, you'll have too much of these triglycerides. And these are stored as fat if they're not used.
Oh, and that can contribute to high blood pressure.
It can fill your arteries with these layers of fat, making high blood pressure, and that can go to atherosclerosis, and then you die.
On a happier note, we can learn about this and prevent these things.
We can.
So,
First, triglycerides.
well, I'll write that up. That's a key word.
Yeah, you need to know what it looks like and how it's formed.
So, triglycerides. Tri means three of something, and glycerides, you'll be able to see in a minute, it's glycerol. So I'll draw up
Yeah.
this. Got CH.
So we've got glycerol, which is a type of sugar, which is got 3 segments. And tri, so free, and it's such a free fatty acids because it makes fat.
I'm just going to draw one of the fatty acids.
Yeah, and if you do chemistry, you'll be familiar with something I'm about to do, and that's draw on skeletal structure. And these are all just carbons of hydrogens off. That's a much quicker way to do it. And there'll be one for each of these, and again, like before, they bond to a condensation reaction to form a bond. But Wayne, what's the bond?
Well, it looks like it's a glycosidic bond, is that right, Triv?
I don't think it is.
Oh, because this is a fatty acid. I can relate that to the word ester bond.
Yeah.
Because fatty. So is this an ester bond then, Triv?
It is an ester bond, you need to remember that, because they are different.
And we normally draw this as a circle.
There's that one for all 3 of these ones, so that would be like that.
So the circle represents all 3.
Yes.
And that's a triglyceride.
It is, but there's more than one type of triglyceride.
There's saturated and unsaturated. I'll do this
There
in
is.
blue.
And these two are quite different. Now, saturated means there is no double bonds between any of these. And unsaturated means there is, because they're opposites.
Single bonds only, double bonds included.
And there's an easier way to remember this way.
There is saturated begins with an S, single begins with an S. Saturated is single.
That's how you do it.
But you actually need both saturated and unsaturated
Yeah.
in your diet.
Because each form different acids which are used in different things.
So this will make palmitic acid. You don't have to remember this.
No.
This can make oleic acid, and they can make different acids, but you
Yeah.
need both of them.
However, one is better than the other for lots of it.
And that's unsaturated. Well, why would that be better, Triv?
Well, Wayne, because of its double bonds, it's a liquid at room temperature.
And you don't want solids at room temperature, because that
What
can
saturated
cause
fats are.
plaques and all sorts inside.
Yeah, so these form them much slower than these saturated fats.
But you do need saturated
You need
fats.
both of them.
A special type of lipid that comes up again and again is cholesterol.
Yeah, and something people always think is a really bad thing, you do need it.
It's essential for lots of things, in
It
fact.
is.
If you don't have cholesterol, a lot of bodily functions couldn't be carried out.
But again,
If you have too much, problems occur.
problems occur, and that's mostly because that's what too much means. Too much is the exact quantity that is excessive.
So if you have too much of anything, it's too much.
There you go.
No debate out there.
No.
End of. There's also phospholipids, which we actually talk about much in topic 2.
Yeah,
when
we're going
we
to do
talk about
much
cystic
more
fibrosis.
later, and they're pretty swish.
But we need them.
We do, for all our membranes and stuff.
And in fact, finishing with lipids finishes part 2.
It does.
So we don't sum up now, we sum up in part 3. So
In the next clip, so
we'll see you there.
let's crack on.
Roll the credits.
Oh yeah.